I mean, you can sum the story up in like 5 sentences, and we might even put that one to the test.
You can sum this movie up in a haiku.
I, I, you know what? I'm willing to give it. It's what? It's 5, then 7, then 5. I'm willing to give it a go. So,
Anyways, go ahead.
Ace Hunter, Bride's Bike, Megaforce saves the world now. Oh wait, today, and then Persis Combata hot. There's my Megaforce haiku for you.
So he's Tony. I'm Dino Quarantino, also known as Mike. And we're here to watch the world burn. In this episode, we are covering Megaforce. Released in 1982. This is actually, there's a lot more to this film than I thought, like digging into it. It was directed by Hal Needham, who was a former stuntman for Burt Reynolds.
Yes.
And there is quite a connection going on there. So Hal did Smokey and the Bandit that
Yes,
Reynolds
and
starred in.
Cannonball Run
1
movie.
and 2, and the Cannonball Run movies 1 and 2. All those movies had Burt Reynolds in it. The only movie that didn't have Burt Reynolds in it was Rad.
You know, funny thing, Hal Needham had his own action figure and stunt action playset where he was a cowboy, because apparently that was how he, got famous. Was he was a stuntman for several big, Western stars, and his playset actually has a breakaway rail from the top, so you can push Hal Needham off of the upper level, and he'll smash through. And it's got a little movie camera that you can move around with it. It's pretty amazing. I gotta be honest, I kind of want one.
So that's the connection there. Written by James Whittaker, Albert S. Ruddy, and Hal, and Andre Morgan. It's based on a story by Robert S. Cockler.
He wrote it on a cocktail napkin. Look, we're gonna do this right. If we're talking Megaforce, I'm gonna need alcohol.
There you go. Right on. So the movie stars Barry Bostwick as Ace Hunter, and you'll know Barry from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, who plays the asshole Brad. And then also he was the mayor in Spin City, Mayor Randall Winston. I think pretty much the whole run of that show, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Next, we have Michael Beck as Dallas. Michael Beck, his big role was in The Warriors as Swan. And then he did Xanadu. Poor guy. Sonny Malone.
Look, I'm just saying, if I had been, if like I got the phone call of, hey, guess what? You're going to be in a movie with Olivia Newton-John. It's a musical. We're going to integrate roller. I would have been all, hell yeah, I'm totally there. I'm totally psyched. She was so good in Grease. And then I would have gone and seen Xanadu and been all like, why did you do that to me? What did I do to you? And that was what? That was Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly? Was it Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly in that one?
Is one of the two. One of the big,
one of the big musical dance guys, and it was their last movie.
Gene Kelly.
So that was Gene Kelly's last movie role. And now, did he die after he saw it? Just remember, even Raul Julia, his last movie was Street Fighter, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that that was a quality flick. Fun, yes. Quality, not so much. So.
I can't really weigh on that one. I never actually watched that movie.
Oh, we're gonna have to add that
I
one
guess
to the
I'm
list.
not really missing much of anything, to be honest with you.
You know what? It is good, cheesy fun. To be perfectly honest, we're talking about Megaforce. You should really check out Street Fighter. It's in the
Fair
same
enough.
vein. It
Fair
is in
enough.
the same vein.
Fair
So
enough. Yeah.
you know what's funny? I was when I was digging around on this one. Hal Needham, like in interviews, he really thought that he had struck gold with this movie. He really thought that this movie was just going to be a runaway hit, like Star Wars style. And like he even went so far as he was like so pumped full of his own bullshit that he was like, if the government, if the military doesn't have something like Megaforce, I guarantee it'll be on the drawing board in a year after this movie comes out. And it's like, for real? I don't know if he actually really believed that or if he was just really trying to sell this movie, but
I
it boggles my mind. It really does kind of boggle my mind.
I'm guessing he didn't see the GI Joe cartoons because I think they came out right about the same time.
I think this actually predates the GI Joe cartoons just a little bit though, because I want to say GI Joe hit in like 83 or 84. So I
Yeah.
know it was all right around that same time period. But anyway,
It ended like really, really close.
you should finish telling us about the cast.
I didn't go off on this tangent. That's all I'm saying. Persis Kambata, your girl, Miss India 1965.
We have the same hairstylist. Just saying.
So go ahead, pronounce her name because I can't pronounce her name in Star Trek.
It is Persis Kambata as Lieutenant Ilea.
All right,
And
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 then
I'm
let's.
going to be honest. Well, the thing about Persis Kambata, first off, she shaved her head for that role, and there's actually footage of her getting her head shaved for that role. And at the end, she's crying. But the fact of the matter is, she's still beautiful after they shave her head. She is an
Yes.
absolutely stunning woman. Number one. Number two, she was originally supposed to be in Star Trek Phase Two, which that was back when it was going to be a second 5-year mission for the Starship Enterprise, before they had decided to take everything and turn it into a feature film. So she had already been cast in the role, but then they decided to make her a bit more of an exotic character to make her a little more alien. Technically she's a Deltan. So that's why they shaved her head. And she has her certificate of celibacy on record with Starfleet because apparently Deltans know how to get their freak on. I'm just saying, it's it's
Well, that doesn't even make any sense. She has her certificate of celibacy because they know how to fuck.
apparently they know so many different forms of pleasure, and it's so intense that the average mortal human couldn't tolerate it. Look, I can only tell you what the lore is.
Uh, Edward Mulhare as Bern White. You'll know him mostly from Knight Rider. He played Devin Miles in the Knight Rider TV show. Um, he had a long career though. He was most definitely a working actor from 47 to 97. Poor guy died of lung cancer.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's that's impressive.
Yeah. George Firth as Professor Eggstrom, another working actor. He was in a ton of movies and bit roles. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, also in Cannonball Run, Blazing Saddles, and a shit ton of TV.
So I'm not faulting anybody in the cast. I mean, they all have very respectable careers. I'm not saying any of them were really star power,
No,
but there was not really a dud in the bunch as far as ability and talent goes.
no.
I got a question for you.
We got one more guy.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. And then last is Henry Silva as Guerrera. And yet another working actor, a ton of TV and film.
Oh, Henry
Buck Rogers'
Silva's.
TV show, the movie Alligator. He's in Cannonball Run 2, Amazon Women on the Moon. And he's also in both the Ocean's 11, the original and the redo.
Henry Silva is a legend. Henry Silva was the villain in Steven Seagal's first feature, Above the Law, or Above the Law.
Uh-huh.
He has been in so so many movies,
Yeah.
good and bad.
Yes.
He's another one of those. If you got a check, he's got a motel room. He's good to go. But the thing that's funny is I have seen Henry Silva in a bunch of movies. I have never seen him play a character quite like he played this one. He is not phoning it in. He is most definitely he has really thought out who this character is and how he talks and his mannerisms. It's not just run of the mill Henry Silva. You are getting Silva plus. So I'm just saying for me personally, he is my favorite part of this movie. He is such every moment that he is on screen is absolutely solid fucking gold. there is no two ways about it. Silva is the man. The only way this movie could have been better is that if Henry Silva had been cast as Ace Hunter, then it would have been a ET sized box office smash. So, uh,
Uh, well, as you alluded to earlier, this movie did not do well. It bombed the box office. Nominated for a lot of worst pictures of the year.
oh, it won 3 golden raspberries,
Yeah.
or as we like to call them, the Razzies, and
Yeah.
and it earned every one of them.
And here's the other funny thing. It's very campy, and that was on purpose. It makes you wonder how it would have been received if they didn't go for the camp factor, if they played it straight.
Um, Here's the thing. Hal Needham apparently he wanted to do a action film for the whole family, and to Hal Needham that meant that nobody could die on camera. So literally in this film, chock full of like these big vehicle driven stunt heavy, everything's blowing up and everybody's shooting everything. Literally, nobody dies. And
No,
and
it's PG to the core. I mean, yeah, even the violence is very pedestrian. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that this is a PG film. This is a G film. And I'll tell you why I say that because we talked about Persis Kambata and Lieutenant Ilea. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is rated G,
Yeah.
and that has much more intense scenery and some people that die. So that being said, what exactly made this a PG film? I have no friggin' idea. I mean, other than the obvious gold lame homosexual overtones that ran throughout. But
Ah,
there's something else I wanted to tell you.
I don't know. See, I never. Are you talking about between Guerrera and Ace?
No. I just mean like the fact that you have an entire military outfit that's running around in like gold spandex. Which, funny side note, there is no costume designer on this film. Those uniforms were actually designed, I think, by Mattel.
You say that, and I saw that too, but I want to call bullshit on that.
Why is that?
Because they also thought that Mattel made toys. I could not find any toys. I did my research on this. The only toy I have found was actually done by Bandai. Bandai actually has a Doom buggy
Uh-huh.
from there. I couldn't find anything else. Everything else that was Megaforce was something completely different. And then if it wasn't like this other mock GI Joe thing that didn't have anywhere close to the same vehicles, it was
I thought there was a Hot Wheels.
it was hang on Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So there was actually Power Rangers.
I think whoever wrote that Wikipedia got their fucking shit crossed because I couldn't find anything of it. Now there is an Atari game that is legit. There is an Atari game, and there is a commercial for it. It says it's Bryan Cranston. It kind of looks like Bryan Cranston, but I'll let everybody else decide on whether it is or not.
The world's in danger, only you can save. Say skill, speed, there's a seal. It takes Megaforce. The enemy is everywhere. So take the cycle through the air. Shoot your rocket, fire, thunder. Your momentum same. 'Cause the Megaforce.
Well,
It had to be a really young Bryan Cranston. Because
he's,
this was what, 80, 82, 83?
yeah, well, Bryan Cranston is exactly a young man either. Also tied into this movie is the sweet, the theme song from
Oh, well,
707 Megaforce, which the actual album for 707 was actually titled Megaforce. Now, there's only one song on the film from that album that's actually Megaforce, at least that I gathered.
and they played it during the end credits.
Yes. It's not a bad song. It's not a great song, but it's not a bad song. It's I think it's definitely above what this film deserved.
Well, it ain't no Dream Warriors, but yeah.
Not everybody can have Doc on their soundtrack, you know. I mean,
well, I don't think Dokken was. Well, no, 81 was Breaking the Chains. They could have had Dokken on their soundtrack. They could have.
They
just
could
didn't do that.
But I'm just saying, not everybody's that fortunate.
See, now we got to talk about the plot because,
Okay.
the film opens up and it's got henchman number 1, and he's reading like his list of demands to the people, and he's like just droning on and on and on about it, everything that they're gonna do for the people and blah blah blah, and Henry Silva is just all like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's blow some shit up. and so he orders his tank battalion to open fire. And so they blow up a model of an oil refinery.
Yeah.
I mean, they blow the hell out of it, but you can tell it's not particularly well shot. It's not particularly well lit, and it is not particularly well built. And that's just going back to Green Slime. The models in that, there was some craft there. You could definitely tell that there was attention to detail, that there was some scale. They knew what they were doing when they built those models. These models, even though they were shot in the dark, and the majority of the time you saw them shot in silhouette against the backdrop of explosions, they looked like they were made out of McDonald's straws and pipe cleaners. I mean, it was really cheap looking from a model standpoint. So that's strike one against director Hal Needham. But from there we go to the British general. Help me out with this one, because she's Indian and the other general is English.
Well,
And
because India was a British colony for centuries. You know this.
Well, but they hadn't been a century. And well, here's the other thing too. She's a major, but she's the president's daughter. Wrap that one around your head for a bit. But then they're in America, and they're trying to pull rank on American troops. What part of this makes any sense? And this
she's just trying to assert herself as as a capable soldier. She's not just a pretty face.
Well, I get that. I understand what they were attempting to do. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you they did any of it successfully, but I get what they were going for. But so you have Princess Kambata and the general, and I can't even remember his name, and I don't care to know his name. He's like, if this is Max Jambo, this is the general in Megaforce. So I'm just saying, if Max Jambo he's not a good officer because he's worried about saving every last man. The general in Megaforce, he's a slimy, he's a political.
Yes.
He's just a jerk. That's all there is to it. He's not even an engaging or interesting character in nature. Anyway, so they're being hauled off to the Megaforce like in the middle of the desert. They're like just driving him out in the middle of nowhere. They don't know where they're going or what they're doing or blah blah blah. And then the limo like pulls over and pulls out his 15 suitcases and leaves them in the desert and drives off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I guess that's supposed to be funny. I guess it's supposed to be a joke of some sort. But then like they legitimately spend like 5-10 minutes of film. I'm not saying it was 10 minutes. It just felt like 10 minutes of them sitting around in the desert doing nothing. The most exciting thing that happened was Princess Tabata hyped her dress up so we could see her legs. And that was it. And the general didn't even turn around and be all like, "Nice gams, lady." He just stared off in the distance because they were waiting for someone.
He's
We
British.
don't know what because they don't even know what. And then a snake comes crawling up, but like they're so lazy that their rattlesnake can't even rattle. And then they shoot it. Yeah. They don't like say, "Hey, move! Hey, there's a snake." No, shoot it. That rattlesnake didn't do anything to anybody. He was just hanging out. That could have been his home that Persis Kambata was sitting on. We'll never know.
Well, it wasn't even him. It was her. It was the general that was close to.
Look, all I'm saying is that they shot the snake for no good reason, and then in comes Dallas, and he's wearing his Skull shirt, which Hal Needham connection here. Apparently, Skull bankrolled one of Hal Needham's racing teams back in the day. So I don't think that was coincidence that Dallas was wearing a Skull shirt. I think that Hal was like trying to win some favors. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he got some tobacco money to finance the Megaforce. I'm not sure what, but we go through like this whole thing where Dallas is like, talking about, "Oh, well, we got a commander and you know the difference between authority and rank." And it's like, it's so pretentious. It's so boring. It's so like, can we like move on to something? And they show off their Ford truck shoots holograms of women swimming in the water for no real good reason.
I know that was so stupid. They did the hologram thing like what 3 or 4 times in the movie, and each time it's like so forced. It's like we gotta show up this intro vision thing that we developed. We don't know where we're going to put her, how we're going to make it fit in there, but we're going to shove it in there one way or the other. No lube. None.
I got
Backdoor, no lube. Here you go.
to be perfect, the whole first, like, and I'm not exaggerating here, the whole first 12 minutes of this movie could have been summed up in 2 lines of dialogue. And it's again, it's directed so poorly. It is handled so badly. It's because they're supposed to be building suspense to the big reveal of who the hell is Megaforce and blah blah blah. But like it takes so long to get there that you don't even give a shit when they finally like do the big reveal. And the big reveal comes up and it's like 3 spandex clad gold warriors riding through the desert shooting rockets and machine guns, blowing the shit out of balloons. Because they really hate kids' parties. I mean, it's a good thing a clown didn't walk out because they would have fucked him up.
You get a clown over here.
they blow the shit out of a bunch of balloons, and they're like I'm just gonna say, Hal Needham apparently thinks that everything is fucking cooler if there's a wheelie involved.
Yes, he loves his fucking wheelies, dude. God damn, he loves his wheelies.
Wouldn't it be easier to have guns that could just point up? I'm just saying, look, I'm going to submit
I don't think the exact same thing. Like, how effective are these fucking motorcycles if you have to pop a wheelie to shoot shit up in the air? I mean,
my point exactly. So that all being said, so like,
well, you know what?
Entirely too long.
Further, I want to say this. Now that you said that, now it makes complete sense why you wanted to do Rad. It's nothing but fucking bike stunts.
Is that what it was? It was just like it wasn't inmate Lori Laughlin. That being said, They waste everybody's time blowing up a bunch of balloons, and then they sit around and they masturbate about how stealthy their motorcycles are. Like, oh yeah, oh god, Hal Needham. I think he fucked the tailpipe of a couple of the vehicles in this movie because he is so jizz-tastic about fucking every fucking vehicle in this movie. Oh yeah, oh look, it's the with the Mark IV-A. Oh, it was drawn up on the. I'm like seeing like fucking Hal Needham, and he's got like one hand planted on the wall and one hand taking care of the business. Well, he's looking at the blueprints of these motorcycles, and oh yeah, wear that fucking gold lightning bolt color theme, you dirty whore. so so they talk about like, oh, it's Megaforce, and oh yeah, we're beyond the government, and we're more powerful, and you know there's a difference between authority and blah blah. Oh god, it's so fucking boring and pretentious. It's so bullshit. And I'm just gonna say that based on the dialogue of this section of the film, I don't think Hal Needham ever served in the military because I don't think he understands how command structures work.
Well, they say point blank there is no command structure in Megaforce. They say that literally there is no command structure in Megaforce. The only thing we got is like a quote unquote leader that they call a commander, and that's it.
If there's no command structure in Megaforce, then why does anybody give a fuck about Ace Hunter and anything he has to say?
Well, he's got sweet ass, very good fucking hair and a fucking blue bandana, man. And just you saw the fucking wheelies. You saw the wheelies. You saw how many balloons he fucking blew up, dude. I mean, come on.
I stand corrected.
It gave Hal Needham like the biggest fucking chub. I don't know why it didn't work for you.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Ace Hunter can obviously ride the longest wheelie and shoot the most balloons, and that is why they listen to him because there's no command structure in Megaforce.
No, it's the same way a teenage bike gang would operate. Here's the leader. Why is he the leader? Because he can fucking ride the longest wheelie, like you said, and shoot the most fucking balloons. That's why
thought it was whoever had like the most cards in their spokes and whoever had the longest tassels off their handlebars. But I don't feel like I'm too far off on that one.
Well, cars and tassels are for.
Well, okay, you're gonna have to beat that one. But so they go to Megaforce Command Central, and like they spend. I looked at the timestamps on the movie. They literally spend like the next 15 minutes fucking just stroking off over Megaforce and all of their vehicles, and they do like this big walkthrough. Oh, here's our computer system, and any time that anybody says this, we can like listen to all communications of every military base in the world. It's so boring. It like they're like just totally like talking about how Megaforce is this uber elite. The first rule of making a fucking movie is show, don't tell. If you have to have 5 minutes of exposition to explain your shit is shit. There's no two ways about it. If you can't show me in 30 seconds, fuck yourself. You suck as a director. Period. So, but no, we've got to tolerate like fucking. Oh, we got to talk about the computer screens and we got to introduce Egg. He's like the big like brain who designs all the Megaforce vehicles. And then we got to walk through a fucking hangar. Oh, look, there's a B-2 bomber. It's just sitting over there. Oh, hey, look, here's our 40 motorcycles with big stupid lightning bolt color schemes. Oh, hey, look, here's our bitchin' Jeeps, and when I put my hat on it, it turns black, but when I lift the hat up, it turns like back to the same stupid lightning bolt color. Just fuck this movie. So anyway, so 29 minutes into this fucking train wreck of a movie.
And review.
They decide that they're going to let us in on fucking Operation Hook, Line, and Sinker. Which is just fucking a stupid name. It's not even cool. It's like,
Yeah.
Not like fucking, Operation Toe Line or fucking Operation Hook. Like some badass. Hal Needham really did not know what fucking cool was, and that's really the story of Megaforce.
It's not all on him though. There's 3 other writers in his fucking script. So
Hal Needham. Look. That being said, Operation Hook, Line, Sinker, and here's the thing: they're going to go and they're going to attack this town, and then they are going to run away bravely, and Henry Silva naturally.
see, they should have called it Operation Sir Robin.
Oh, but yeah. Well, naturally, Henry Silva is going to follow them, and he's going to be so hell bent on tracking down Ace Hunter that he's going to cross the border. At which point, General British Smuckosaurus can, capture Henry Silva, and woo! It's a big win.
Yeah.
So, and we have a hologram that shows this anyway. And so we go through all that bullshit. And by the way, I have to add, those jumpsuits with the flap with the red, that shit is sweet. Like, it's not like since Captain Harlock that I saw military uniforms that looked that effortlessly cool. We go through the whole battle plan for Project Hook, Line, and Sinker, which, like, an idiot could have come up with using a Monopoly board and some get out of jail free cards.
Yes.
It wasn't like a brilliant plan by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
And versus
effectively a
Kambata.
smash to grab, a hit and run.
Oh yeah.
It should be called Operation Hit and Run.
Well, she's like, I'm coming with you, because Ace and so we go through this prolonged bullshit training montage, but we do get the greatest parachuting scene ever until Point Break comes along years later. So we get the love of Ace Hunter and Major Hottie as they skydive into romance. And it is poetry. It is beautiful. And I can hardly tell when they're just superimposing one of our actors into a background plate with a real skydiver. I mean, the fact that no wind is blowing their costumes isn't a dead giveaway at all. I mean,
you know what? That right there is the most damning thing for Hal, because he's a stunt coordinator. There should have been no shot in that whole sequence that should have been fucking superimposed or any of that bullshit. You should have had 2 people literally skydiving. All that shit should have been filmed, like you said, in fucking Point Break. That to me, if you're a stunt coordinator and you can't fucking pull that fucking off, well then fuck you. Moving on.
As far as I know, like when you watch Point Break, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that is Keanu Reeves and that is Patrick Swayze, and they really are skydiving.
Even if it isn't, who cares?
But it's so damn convincing. Let's put it like this.
It's very convincing.
If it's an effect, I've been fooled because it really looks like skydiving.
Well, that's the whole point of being a good stunt coordinator, so you can coordinate the stuff so it looks like your actors are actually doing these things, whether they are or not.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But all that, so we have that, and then we have Persis Kambata like in her like dune buggy simulation where she's driving around shooting shit, and she gets a perfect score. And then Ace Hunter, he's all like, I've let this go on long enough because of my feelings for you. So I just need to let you know that you're not coming with us, because all these men, they all know how each other thinks, and they know exactly what they're going to do. And I need that level of predictability on the battlefield. And you, Persis Kambata, Major Hottie, you're a wild card, and I can't have that. It could blow the whole mission. Oh, it's so gag-inducing. It is so hammy. It is so like lazy. Everything about it. If Persis Kambata if Major Hottie is this capable a soldier, only a true idiot would be all like, no, no, I don't want somebody that can blow up 5 buildings with 2 bullets. I need somebody that's gonna know what I'm thinking when I pull that trigger and blow shit up. So so naturally that's the like tension. Now Major Hottie and Ace, they're not seeing eye to eye. The romance, it's been shattered. Will they these two young lovers get back together? Will they reconcile? I don't know, but I'm on the edge of my seat waiting to find out. But we ain't got time for that shit because they gotta load up all this crap in these planes and fly the fuck to Belarus or wherever the fuck they're going and blow some shit up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're gonna
she actually forgives them right then. There's like, yeah, I'm disappointed, but I understand your reasoning. La 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 la. And when they take off, she does the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, 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 it's such a simple, beautiful gesture. I mean, really. That was the moment when Persis Kambata kissed her thumb and put it up to the screen. That was when I fell in love. I just need you to know that. And then when Ace Hunter kissed his thumb and showed it to the screen, I was kind of sexually confused for a little bit after that. I mean, between the shimmering gold spandex, the headband, the fucking hair like a lion's mane, the beard like
mane of hair.
Gibb, I could not resist. Next thing I know, they're flying off in three C-130s over Nevada, I think, because it's obviously not like Pakistan.
It's in Nevada or Utah. I forgot where they shot it at.
Something like that. Anyway,
doesn't matter.
So we get to the meat and potatoes of the film. 58 fucking minutes into this movie, we finally get an action sequence that doesn't involve the shooting of balloons. so Megaforce and all their glory, like literally, they like drive into this town and they got a timer clock at the bottom to show you how precise they are. So Megaforce like rolls in, they blow the shit out of this town, they blow the shit out of this ammo dump, they lose a vehicle, and then they head off, and they're waiting for Henry Silva to like be all like, oh, we gotta go get them motherfuckers, and I don't know
Well,
that what
happens.
happens.
He takes the bait. They follow him to the border, but then fucking General Douchalicious is like, I'm sorry, you can't cross the border for whatever reason. What reason they give? What is
the reason that they give is that the country that Carrera is occupying with his 16 tanks or whatever, apparently it would be considered an act of war. And if they allow Megaforce, an international elite fighting force that has no command structure, to roll into their country, which is not England, and he's an English general, but apparently somehow that will effectively mean that there is a state of war between these two countries that nobody gives a fuck about. So
hang on. So nobody bothered to mention this while they're talking about this plan.
You would
Great
love
plan, Ace, but there's a problem. If you cross the border, it's an international incident. But yet, fucking here, 50 minutes ago at the beginning of the movie, what's his face crosses the border so many times that we need the Megaforce to come in and help deal with the situation. So this story makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of like okay.
And that's the thing that drove me crazy the most about this. Like, so then why do we go through all this fucking bullshit? This is fucking stupid. It's like the lamest reason ever.
It only gets lamer from here. Wait, let's we're gonna make this. This could potentially be a short episode. But Megaforce. Here's the other thing. They 80 kilometers. Now do the math on this. They go from their town to their refuel station. 80 kilometers. If I'm not mistaken, that's like 50 miles, like right in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Megaforce's vehicles are so elite, so badass, so state of the art and futuristic that they get 50 miles on a fucking tank of gas. They all have to stop and refuel, and they have allotted 20 minutes for this. Think about that shit. I want you to roll that one around in your head. That like literally, and they like go through the trouble of having two of the Megaforce hombres or personnel, like they're bitching about the fact that they have to sit there and set up this refueling station. But hey, they were the heroes on the last two missions, so they shouldn't complain about a thing. It's so cheap. God, oh, it is so masturbatory. There's no other word for it. They like Hal Needham is stroking the Megaforce cock at this point. So they go through this whole like bullshit refueling thing, and it's like it is as entertaining as watching paint dry or watching I don't know
It's as entertaining as
water.
watching somebody fucking gas up their car.
Yeah.
This is like what the
Hanging out
fuck
at the
they're
gas
doing. I
station for
mean,
20
yeah.
minutes is always really entertaining.
Yeah.
But fortunately, fortunately,
Burr shows up.
Henry Silva and his fucking helicopter show up. And I this is the best scene in the movie because Henry Silva shows up and he lands his helicopter and Ace is there and you're like expecting this big bullshit showdown between the bad guy and the good guy. Nope. Nope. This is the movie's magic right here. You can skip all the other shit about this movie. This scene is glorious. Ace Hunter and fucking Guerrera, they meet up and he's like, Ace, my old friend, how are you? And he is so over the top. He is so into this role. Like I've never seen Henry Silva is totally method acting this shit. I guarantee you. I think like he spent like several hours in a hot shower wearing nothing with Barry Bostwick so they could get the proper bonding on screen. Because oh Oh, if there wasn't some seedy, questionable loving in the back end of it, I don't know what this scene is supposed to represent. I don't have any issue with that. I'm just going to say it is actually the first moment in this fucking slog of a movie where you actually feel like anybody in it is a actual character. And that's the important part of this bit is that Guerrera has a backstory. Ace Hunter has a back. They didn't just spontaneously fucking appear in the middle of Nevada wearing fucking gold fucking spandex. They legitimately are characters that apparently they were in the academy and they served together and they fought together and they actually respect and like each other. This scene right here, all the magic in this fucking movie is this scene. And I love the fact that they sit and they bitch at each other over a cigarette lighter.
Mono, you stole my lighter. You were so drunk, you forgot. You gave it to me. I loaned it to you. Ace. You forgot to give it back.
It is fucking this is what Megaforce should have been about. You can strip everything else out of this fucking movie. This scene between these two right here is fucking magic caught on film. And then you get like they go through this whole thing. And I'm not gonna spoil it. Watch it. It's fucking magnificent. Just but and like Ace Hunter goes down and General Boring is all like, oh, good show, mate, you've captured him, and he's all like, no, he's going back to his helicopter, he's gonna skirt the fuck out of here. How can you let him go? He's a villain. Hey, fuck you, buddy. He's a swell fucking guy. I know him. He's all right. We know what shit is. I love this. This is the redemption of this whole movie. This like fucking 4 minutes of footage. It's glorious. there's one other redeeming quality about this one, but we'll get to that. So Guerrera gets to go back to his tank house, and basically Guerrera shows up, and he's just there to basically say, "Hey, look, Ace, you and I go way back. We're friends. I'll get you the fuck out of here. You know what? All this is bullshit. We've got you trapped. Blah 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 blah. Just watch the movie for this scene. Fuck all us. Anyway, moving on. So Ace Hunter has
Well,
to come up.
hang on.
Wait.
Stop.
Okay, stop me.
So Guerrera tells Ace, you know, hey, this is the deal. The second you cross over this border, it's an international incident. It's going to be war and shit like that. So Guerrera tells Ace that all this is for naught. And you're basically being kind of set up by this fucking dude. You do all this bullshit for fucking nothing. And he does give the opportunity to you know what, we'll let you out of this. You gotta leave your vehicles and stuff, but your men can go. But that's not Ace's thing. You know, he's not gonna take the easy way out.
Oh no, well, here's the other thing, and here's why there's something here. There was a screenwriter that wrote a script, and I guarantee you, like most of it wound up on the cutting room floor, and I don't know why, but I'll tell you why I think that. Because there is this little exchange in this part of the movie, and Henry Silva says something like, you know, this isn't the 70s anymore. Like you know, the good guys winning isn't necessarily. Now think about that. Think about this is delivered with no sense of sarcasm. It is not delivered tongue in cheek. But like the 70s, Vietnam ended. Like the world was a much more chaotic place than it is today at this point. So for him to actually say that, and Guerrera is very much put out there as a Castro like figure. He dresses like Castro. He's got the red neckerchief and you know the big fucking Cuban cigar and the go. Ugh, it's glorious. I love everything about it. But that all being said, like it's very tongue in cheek. Like the 80s aren't quite as simple. And if you go and you look at what was going on in the 80s, you had the Russians invading Afghanistan and the rise of the Mujahideen, which wound up becoming the Taliban. And so the world was like a very conflicted, weird, confusing place. And then on top of all that, you have an entire like nations full of people that are watch the day after tomorrow, and they're like, fuck, is somebody going to launch a bunch of ICBMs and blow shit up? And are we all going to wind up eating nuclear fallout roasted cow? So it was a very weird time growing up through that. Mike knows what I'm talking about. But that being said, that little exchange, that little comment of things aren't as simple as they were in the 70s. And it's like, there was the guy that wrote this screenplay. He was not fucking phoning it in. I blame Hal Needham. Fuck you, Hal, and your fucking action play set with the fucking bullshit movie camera that you can move around on. Fuck that shit.
And you still want it.
You had something here and you blew it. You fuck, you no directed motherfucker. Quentin Tarantino should piss on your grave. Interesting side note. According to some background stuff, the relationship between Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds was the inspiration for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. So watch that and take a pee on Hal Needham's grave while you're at it. But anyway, so
you can't. No, I'm not going to allow that. Don't piss on somebody's grave because they made fucking one bad movie that we still enjoy.
All right. Well,
that we still enjoy.
Well, this is what editing is for.
Come on.
This is what editing is for.
You're being a little too harsh. A little too harsh. Dial it back.
Wait, all right. So, rolling it back. All right. Anyway, so, Ace Hunter, being the strategy genius that he is, he decides that they're going to run their vehicles on electric, which, again, 80 miles, 80 kilometers, 50 miles, but they got to run on electric because that's virtually silent. They're going to come up behind Carrera's tank column and they are going to, like, you know, drive through the lake bed and then they're going to get on the plane. They're going to get Megaforce the fuck out of there and no one will be the wiser. It is the most obvious plan ever. And, Henry Silva, being a military genius and a tactical expert himself, he would never expect this from Ace Hunter, whose lighter he stole. That would never occur to any of these genius men. But somehow it just slips right past it. So anyway, Megaforce has a lot of smoke bombs, rainbow colored. Ace and his smoke bombs and the Megaforce crew, they go past the tank column and they're like frightened for the airplanes, the C-130s, but one of the C-130s gets shot. So now there's only one. So Megaforce Command tells them that they're gonna have to leave their vehicles behind, which I'm sure Guerrero's all like, yeah, mission accomplished, man. Look at all this high-tech equipment that we've just inherited for nothing. But because self-destructs don't exist in the Megaforce universe.
No, they do. No. There is a throwaway line to send them to self-destruct.
There is a throwaway line, but at no point do we get to see a field of shitty motorcycles exploding. And that would have been...
Well, hang on. Hal Needham is not going to blow up fucking all those sweet machines.
Look.
He's not. He's going to make sweet love to every one of them motherfuckers.
I guarantee you that shit is on Craigslist right now, and you can pick it up for like $75. so
I tried one.
So, well, anyway, look, I'm not saying I wouldn't buy one. I'm not saying I wouldn't proudly drive it to work. I'm not saying I wouldn't get the matching spandex costume and the blue headband. I totally would. I totally would. I'm just saying that at the time that this movie came out, trust me, there was a lot of mildly used Kawasaki's that were for sale in the Hollywood area. So they Megaforce is like fucking hauling ass to get on the airplanes, and they're dumping their bikes and their dune buggies and blah blah blah. But Hunter takes a load in the face. I'm sorry, Hunter gets shot at, and he's there, and as the tank column, Guerrero's tank column, is approaching the planes. I don't know why they can't shoot a plane that's sitting on the ground, other than there's a lot of smoke bombs. But it's not like they didn't know where the plane landed, and it's not like they couldn't just start shooting blind. It's a big fucking plane. But Guerrero is a friend of Ace's, so I don't know. I guess he was like being sporting about it. I have no other explanation for this. But that being said, Hunter, Ace, he having been knocked. The plane has to take off. It's loaded up. They were ordered to wait 2 minutes and then take off no matter what happened. But Ace has not gotten onto the C-130. Megaforce is going to have to fly off without their not commander guy.
Not commander.
Because they don't have a command structure. But he sure does look, cool with that fucking headband. But Ace, being the gentlemanly guy that he is, he has got to stop and knock on the top of the tank. And when Guerrero pops out and he's like, Ace, my old friend, what is up? And Ace has to go,
oh, listen, I just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win. Even in the 80s.
Again, there's a smart script buried in this movie somewhere that Hal Needham didn't use. So then Ace gets on his badass gold lightning motorcycle and he's driving and he hits the first red button and the flaps majestically come down. And then he hits the second red button and the rockets fire. And then we are treated to several minutes of some of the worst special effects while Ace unclimactically rocket cycles into the back of the C-130. And if you need to laugh at anything, I want you to watch the expressions of the men in the back of that C-130 as that rocket-powered flying hot cycle is coming towards them. The only other place that you will see facial expressions like that is generally porno, because they're all, I'm just saying. So, and the best part, Ace is like doing all this stupid shit on, and Dallas is all, yeah, I see you there too, good buddy. Blah blah blah. The only thing missing was some walkie talkies. So then Ace lands in the back of the plane, and they have avoided their international incident, and they fly over, Belarus or whatever, and there's the English general there, and Major Hottie is down there, and it's all on the wheel. So they blow up the British guy's helicopter for no fucking real good reason, because apparently that's Ace Hunter's idea of payback. And then we are treated to the greatest sign off in movie history. Mwah. And then they freeze frame on that shit so you can soak in Ace Hunter and his gold spandex blue head lion mane and kissed thumbprint.
These guys at fucking Dayton, where the fuck they meeting at?
They are going to the Lion's Head Hotel, or the Lion's Head Pub or Hotel. It's the Lion's Head something in London.
That's it.
Him and Major Hottie are gonna bump uglies until that fucking room goes thermo-nuclear from the heat generated by the fire of their love. But and then we are treated to the Megaforce soundtrack theme music that is sweet 80s rock and roll, and all of the great action sequences. We are treated to the gunning down of balloons and the parachute love scene, and then the attack on the. It's like Hal made him new. Like, we have enough good shots in this movie to fill out a credit sequence. And he wanted you to walk out of the theater fully aroused, fully like, oh, so you would confuse Megaforce with a good movie. but it's not. So,
the problem with the movie is this. The problem with the movie is he tried to mix Cannonball Run with G.I. Joe, and the two don't fucking mix, because the tone is totally Cannonball Run. It's the interactions between all the characters. Well, there's the exact type of interactions that happen with the characters in Cannonball Run. They're not really characters. There are just people that have stupid fucking lines that interact with each other and throw
everybody has a trait.
What's that?
There's no characters in this movie. Everybody has a trait.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all they're good for is one thing, and then we're gonna beat on that one thing over and over again whenever they're on screen. It's so amateur hour. And again, Hal Needham is a great stunt coordinator, absolutely, but he is not a director. And this I'm not saying that there was a bad premise here. I'm not even saying that there's a bad movie here. Somewhere buried in this pile of shit is actually the makings of what could be a fucking legendary film. But this ain't it.
No, that's not it. No, he was the wrong director for this film. It may have been his idea, but somebody else should have done it. You can't. It's the wrong tone. It's the absolutely wrong tone. And it's the wrong way to have characters in a movie like this.
Well, Hal Needham, very obviously, he doesn't understand character or character development. He very obviously does not understand that, you know what? People don't give a shit about what something has. They care about what it does. Don't show me a vehicle and talk about it for 15 minutes and expect me to be all like, oh, I can't wait to see that in action. No, show me the vehicle in action. And it's even then it's tricky because there is a multitude of movies floating around out there, and they're all based on like technology. There's a high concept like Firefox,
I was just
which was
thinking
the
that one.
original. What was the original boring movie about a super high tech thing that's supposed to blow my socks off but didn't because there's nothing intrinsically exciting about a piece of technology. There may be something interesting about how you use it, but there's never anything interesting about it. And like even going back, like Jamie Foxx was in Stealth, and so every time you have a movie and it's based around like oh we have this new super duper state of the art airplane and blah blah blah, and oh look what we can do with it. These movies are the absolute like worst examples of what to do with a big budget film. They're always boring. They never age worth a shit. And there's nothing you can do with it that's going to salvage it. I don't give a shit if you got a plane that like miniaturizes and makes things invisible and then like, pops up and turns into golden virgins that, it's still boring.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do to it. Technology inevitably has a timestamp on it. What's amazing today is boring 20 years from now, or fuck, 5 years from now. YouTube was invented and became a thing in 2007, and here we are in 2020, and like YouTube's the most pedestrian shit on the planet. But here we are. But once upon a time, the idea of a website you could stream a bazillion different videos about anything you could possibly imagine, that was exciting. And now,
Yeah.
it's about as exciting as a rotary dial telephone.
Hey, shh. We're doing stuff on this.
I know. No. I'm not hating. All I'm saying is,
people.
look, if you're a producer and you are going to make a movie and you are really want to like showcase technology as a major function of your film, never make it like that's the A plot. At best, technology is a B plot or a C plot. Don't ever make it your A plot because you are automatically dating your movie, number one. Number two, you are making sure that 5 years down the road, no one's going to give a shit about it. And number three, I've never seen it done well. It's always fucking boring.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, because a good story about technology, they're out there. You can do it. Even if the technology dates, the fact that you have characters that people care about, make it relevant. People will project themselves into a time frame if your characters are interesting. But if your technology is all you're leaning on, fuck your movie. And Megaforce is a prime example of that. This should have been exciting. This should have been interesting. And Hal Needham, for all of his faults as a director, first off, he didn't understand character. He did not understand pacing. Good Lord, this movie is boring and it is chocked full of filler. But there is a core idea here that if it had been handled properly, it could have been amazing. And it's not.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The he does chase movies and race movies. That's all he does, and he does them very well.
Yeah.
So if it would have been an hour and a half of him, making that strike and then trying to get away from Carrera in a very compromising situation, say it was a botched fucking attack and they had lost a lot of their vehicles, if there was some type of stakes involved, that definitely would have helped. And then you would have some type of real story. Because then he's in his wheelhouse. Then he can do something. Because all Smoking the Bandit is just him being chased. All Cannonball Run is individuals being chased, and race into a goal at the end. So if they would have changed the structure of the story to suit that, then we would have had something that would have worked for him as a director.
Ironically, the premise of Megaforce is too sophisticated for its director.
Yes.
I'm saying that I got a smile.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Like legitimately, like go back to the action films of the time and take a look at how they're structured, and this is the exception, and by the exception I mean this is a movie that didn't know what an action film formula was, so it's fucking awful. I don't know. My sense of it is that there is probably a very well fleshed out script that has like all these character moments between all of these different like characters that are involved in Megaforce, and that shit was all left on the editing room floor because Hal Needham was so busy wanting to masturbate over his vehicles and his stunts and blah 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 that he's like, people don't care about that. They don't care about Ace Hunter and Dallas and Zachary Taylor. They want to see the vehicles going through the. So fuck you, Hal Needham. Got it wrong.
So
It is a good movie to be had here. Hal Needham was not the man to deliver it.
well, here's the other thing. If they would change the character of Guerrero instead of being like his buddy to an actual nemesis, that would also help too. And then that would have played. Then it would have been Ace is the bandit. Guerrero would have been, Sheriff Buford T. Justice, and that would have played a lot better.
It would have played better, but what's more interesting, and I mean this sincerely, is that if they'd actually bothered to show that when you shoot large guns and rockets at people, that sometimes they get hurt. Shooting somebody. Well, here's the thing. Shooting somebody, an enemy, can be portrayed a lot of different ways on screen. It can be portrayed as tragic. It can be portrayed as dramatic. It can be portrayed as heroic. Shooting at somebody who you know and you like can be portrayed a lot of different ways. So if Ace Hunter was like, you know what, I went to the academy with Guerrero. I went through basic training with Guerrero. We've served together. I like this man, but he's on the wrong side of this fucking thing. But my duty says I have to kill him.
Right.
That is intrinsically dramatic. There is meat to be had there. That right there. Write it well. Shoot it. That just the fact that there's an actual conflict. If there's actually any stakes involved. If Ace is wounded and he's like, I've got to shoot Guerrero and I like this. There is something to be had here. But because Hal Needham decided, nope, we're going to do a movie about the military and no one's going to get hurt. Just like in Vietnam. That's why Hal Needham was completely out of his depth on this one. Again, if there had been any, we talk about this a lot. We talk about this on a lot of different movies.
Yes, we do.
If there's no stakes, if there's nothing at risk, if your main characters do not put something on the line, your movie sucks. Period.
Yep.
I don't give a shit who you are. You cannot do a movie that involves a protagonist and an antagonist where nothing is at risk and make it interesting. And this movie is the crystalline, perfect example of that fact. If Guerrera and Ace had actually respect for each other, but as their duty potentially could have killed each other, that in and of itself, it's just intensely dramatic. We talk about this kind of stuff a lot. There are huge flaws in this film, but weirdly, there's a certain charm about Megaforce that makes all this shit forgivable. But quit remaking movies that are good. All right, quit remaking movies that are already like The Thing. You're never going to do it as well as John Carpenter. Stop. Just don't even pretend that you're that capable a director. But this right here, this is the property that you buy and you take a look at all the good that's in it and then you develop a script that makes it work, because you go and you watch the X Games and you watch these sons of bitches on motorcycles like doing 36, and I want you to imagine like Ace Hunter, first off, actually making him kind of a badass, but then second off, rather than him shooting fucking balloons, I want you to imagine a military operation where he's got guys that are pinned down and he takes his fucking Megaforce motorcycle and he pops that shit off a ramp and he pulls a fucking wheelie and like does a loop-de-loop where he's spraying machine gun fire to get his dudes out of there. That shit is badass and you know it. And it may be kind of campy and cheesy, but the fact of the matter is the Fast and the Furious movies are on their ninth film at this point, and that's exactly the audience that they're catering to. So don't tell me that you can't do that with this, because box office shows that you could. You could buy Megaforce, you could make a real like X Games paramilitary international organization of guys that are like there to get the job done and do it really well. Because the Fast and the Furious is really just Megaforce, but cool. That's it in a nutshell. That's it.
And instead of fucking doing military operations, they do heists.
Yeah, precisely. Well, until these later films where they're actually working with the government or doing undercover shit. Megaforce has that kind of potential. There is something great here that could be harvested, and just getting the right stunt writers and the right lead actor and having a poster that's cool as fuck and machine guns on what do you need? This movie could be like huge, and I'm sure you could get the rights to Megaforce for not a lot of cash. It's not like buying Harry Potter, you know. So I don't understand it. But this right here, there are so many movies in the '80s that they had an interesting idea, and they're cult films now. But you know, technically speaking, they're not great movies. But there's a kernel of an idea that's so good that you forgive all the bad about it. And Megaforce is exactly that. It is a kernel of an idea that is so good that you can forgive Ace Hunter and his gold spandex and his lion-haired bad music video. Like everything about this movie is suck. But the idea, it's crystalline, it's pure, it is the crack cocaine of action movies. Uncut. Somebody please buy Megaforce and snort that shit and get it on film the way that it deserves to be done. That's, I don't know. Mike, what's your feelings on this? I'm so amped up and
my
licked up.
feelings are this. Hey, don't ask a question. Talk the fuck over me. That pisses me off.
Do you. I'm sorry.
So, anyways, here's my feelings. If he would have stuck with the formulas, and I'm talking about Hal, that works for him as a director, you know, if he would have kept it as a chase scene, had actual antagonists, not buddies. You know, you can have an antagonist that you can banter with, like that. I mean, because he's done it before, like I said, with you know, Smoking the Bandit, and Sheriff B. Justice. You know, have that banter. You know, whereas they kind of go back and forth like they're buddies, even though they absolutely are not buddies. You know, they can get digs on each other and have a level of respect and things like that. But like you said in the beginning, they waste way too much time, you know, talking about all this stuff instead of showing stuff. If they would have,
and I was, just so you know, I was not kidding. It is 29 minutes of this film before we get to the briefing that actually sets up the plot of the rest of the film.
Yeah. So
there's just a ton of dead space in this movie because it's handled by a director that doesn't know how to do character or plot.
I get it. So anyway, yeah. So if they would if he would tailor that script more to his shooting style and the movies that he does, it would have been a better film. Would have been a good film. Tough to say. It's hard to say. So I think you're right. the script was written for the wrong director. If it was in the hands of a different director, maybe this could have been something. I don't know. I mean, everything is super camp, and that's the other problem with it too. Is if it went to another director, you'd have to get rid of. You would have to do the costumes different. The vehicles would have to be different. They couldn't be fucking white with lightning bolts and shit like that because you can't take that shit seriously. Even in
Yeah.
the fucking 80s, you just can't. Um, you just can't. So mm, I enjoy it. It's fun and it's charming for all of its faults. So I mean, if it wasn't directed the way it was, we wouldn't be talking about it now.
That's true. That is true.
So there's that. I mean,
This is
and so
this is a
as shitty
terrible.
as this film is, it has a charm. It's like The Room. It's so bad that you have to appreciate how bad and absurd it is. It's
Yeah.
um
And this is exactly the kind of movie that I was talking about. When we were talking about Green Slime, and I was saying, you know what, this movie would be better if it was worse. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Megaforce, the legend of Megaforce is based on how bad a movie it is. It does have its charm. And it definitely has, it's not all garbage. There was some genuine effort, some real passion that was put into the production of this film, but that doesn't make it any better
no,
movie.
no, it absolutely doesn't. And you'll see Hal's fingerprints all over it. If once you watch like Smokey and the Band and Cannonball Run, you'll get the tone and stuff that he's going for. It'll make sense to you, but like you said, it doesn't make it good by any
Yeah,
stretch of the imagination.
the thing
Uh,
the thing that's funny, and you brought this up, Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run. Um, I'm just gonna say that Burt Reynolds, he had a charm. Burt
yes,
Reynolds as an actor, and I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but I will say that like in all the Hal Needham movies that he
he's
was in,
charismatic. He's got charisma about him. That's
that's
that's Burt Reynolds to a
exactly it.
T. It's not his acting ability; it's his sheer charisma. It's the
It,
fucking stash. It's
it,
the
it,
silly
well,
fucking
it,
laugh. He's got
it
that
is
little
it is
twinkle in his
this
fucking eye.
stash. It is his fuck the police attitude. It
Yeah,
is his, you know what, I'm gonna do this because this seems like it would be fun. It may
fun.
not be the
Yes,
smart move, but it
yeah,
seems like it would be the fun move. And that is what really pays off. Burt Reynolds can carry a film where it's just a dude driving away from the cops in the car,
yeah.
because Burt Reynolds is a charming, funny kind of guy, and you'll root for him no matter what. Ace Hunter, on the other hand, I want his hairline, I want his headbands, and I want his lycra jumpsuit, but he is nowhere near as charismatic. Bruce Bostwick cannot carry a film like Burt Reynolds can. That's all I can say. And I'm not saying that the failings of this film are squarely on his shoulders,
Oh
but you
no,
can
no.
definitely tell that Hal Needham was kind of relying on him to be the guy that carried the film, and he just couldn't do it. And I'm not saying it's bad casting, but Burt Reynolds loved to just do shit when a camera was pointed at him. If you doubt that, go watch the Cannonball Run. Watch those bloopers at the end of the movie during the credits. Burt Reynolds loved the camera being on
Yes.
him. He loved just talking shit, and he loved just ad-libbing on the fly. That's not the case here. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't make him a bad guy. It doesn't even make him a bad actor. It's just he's nowhere near the level of charm as Burt Reynolds. He's
All that said, I'm still gonna recommend this movie because it's a lot of fucking fun.
Oh, you're right. You're
All
right.
that shit said,
So,
at the end of the day, I'm still gonna recommend this movie because it's fun. If you guys want to know what a classically bad fun movie is, this is it.
I'm just gonna say that this is, you're absolutely right. This is a bad movie. It is, from a critical standpoint, it is not a good film. From an entertainment standpoint, it's hilariously bad.
Yes.
And that being said, if this movie is your jam, if you watch this movie and you appreciate how absolutely like not right it is, you totally need to like go from it and you need to go watch Hawk the Slayer right after this because it is that same vein of bad. There is a core idea there that there's something there. There's a charm to it, and it is sincerely done. And it's fucking awful, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think there's anything else really to say about this.
Yeah,
No.
I'm.
No. What was
I,
really?
I have a complicated relationship with this film. I love it. I hate it. I see all of its flaws, and yet I still want to just give it a big hug. That's 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 the only way I can think of to describe Megaforce. So I'm not going to say I've got it out of my system. I'm not going to say that when we're done with this video, I'm not going to call you and be all like, dude, we got to talk about this shit because I watched Megaforce again and I just realized this. But I think I'm good for right now. I need another drink because the Megaforce is seeping into my brain.
So, what are we reviewing next?
We are going to be reviewing 2016 Anthropoid. And I know you don't even know what the hell movie I'm talking about.
No,
But
no idea.
it has Cillian Murphy in it, and it is a World War II film.
Okay.
And I want to review this one specifically because this is one of those rare films that it's masterfully done, but no one's seen it, and I don't know why. So that's what's next.
All right.
I'm
We'll see you guys
excited.
next time.
All right.
Oh,
Peace.
fuck that. Rock. See you guys next time.